like the last time we played Helga was pretty awkward where we just played against Tron like 3 or 4 times in a row, and that's like I think almost clearly worst matchup for Helga. And so I've been wanting to circle back to it. It feels like a good time to do it since we're still kind of waiting on everything. But I still like the Helga Keruga build. Helga and Keruga have so much synergy. Leyline Scion I think is really good at the moment against all the energy decks. And I've ended up going down on subtleties in the deck to play some Omnaths. I think I'm the play against a Gigantha will keep. Imperion plus conscription cheating into Ugin's lab, or is that concept not good enough? Yeah, I don't think it's very good. Is I guess the short answer. Yeah, Faye is pretty weak card. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Mega with the 26 months, appreciate you, but I am trying to figure it out. Okay, so Gigantha Commercial District is probably Storm again. We do have some Force of Negations. So I have the option to get a Triome for Delirium, so for Domain, but I think it's a bit better for me to try to find a Force of Negation. Punished, I suppose, for getting Archive instead of the red-white Surveil Land, because now I can't get a Surveil Land off the Revealed. Do you think Gigantha's worth in the Storm? Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's a lot better if you're playing Channeler and or Questing Druid. But yeah, I would win a lot of games just because like my opponents would play a lock piece and I'd cast a Gigantha. I'd also be playing against Control and I would just play a Ruby and then I would play. I think we get Domain here first. Oh, sorry, we didn't play the Sacred Foundry. Like I would play Ruby, my control opponent would just be holding up counter spells. I'd put Gigantha into my hand, they'd pass with counter spells. I just played Gigantha. Like that ended up happening a good amount. And, like the curve of like Ruby into like land Gigantha, land cast Gigantha is pretty interesting. What do you think of Questing Druid over DRC? To me, Questing Druid would replace Glimpse or like your other like Reckless Impulse like effects because like that's what it is. It's like a little bit weird to like I don't want to play Questing Druid and Glimpse and Impulse and Rin's Resolve. It's just too much. Um, and also like Questing Druid and DRC complement each other. Okay, so they don't get any of those, but those are all pretty good cards for a possible Past in Flames. I know it's boring. We gotta play the ring here. Digging for Force of Negations. Pizza with the 42. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate Jim. Put it back on top. Then the Impulse, they had a Ritual and a Row. I guess we're happy they didn't sack a spawn there. Another Subtlety is good pickup too. Binding is a good pickup as well. So why don't we play Omnath, and then grab Keruga to our hand. You need to text for the hollow one after you played it. I mean, I wanted to play Soulless Jailer in the sideboard over the lizards, and that was kind of it. I think I like really like the main deck of that build. All right, so let's lead on the subtlety here. Thanks again, pizza for the 42. Missing black for binding. Oh, sorry. Yes. I guess we can pitch it to Solitude. Ritual. Resolve. Keruga is a draw 3 at the moment, so assuming we find a fetch land for the Keruga, we get like 7 looks at a Force of Negation. Have I tried a deck around Glarb? The Future Sight Frog seems decent. I mean, some people like Glarb with this archetype. I'm not the biggest fan. Okay, so we found Force of Negation, but we didn't find a fetch land for Omnath. So we could maybe just play Helga and then have 2 mana Leyline Binding plus Solitude plus Force up. Okay, let's probably do that. I like Helga a good bit more than Glarb. I like that card is life gain. I like that it pitches to Solitude. I like that the ability to tap for mana is a big deal. Overall, I think that Helga is a lot better than Glarb, and I think Glarb is okay. But like another big thing with Helga is you can go Helga and then like play a 0 mana card immediately and get that impact on your 3 mana creature. Where Glarb, you're usually going to need to untap with it, unless there's something relevant on the top of your library, which there really often won't be. Oh, sorry. I ported the wrong list for Helga. So if my opponent does... Yeah, they don't have a ritual here. And then there's the ritual. So they won the flip, so now they're going to have a Row. So should I Binding this Row now? I think I should. I'll update this after game 2. Sorry about that. Then let's go ahead and force the Past in Flames. Good thing you don't have to exile something with Solitude. Oko with the 60 months. Thank you so much. Welcome back. I'm loving the Team of Prayers. Had some decent success. Only change, I had 1 Norn the Wary. It's been pretty good. That's cool. I did think about playing Norn the Wary in the deck. Ended up thinking that just Drake and Rampager were better. Yeah, Norn goes well with the Fort Mage. All right. So up a game against Storm is a good place to be. Not the easiest matchup. I'm going to cut all my copies of Fire Ice. I think I'm cutting my Omnaths also. Could be also possible to cut Scion Draco. Probably not enough room for that. Commandeer is kind of interesting. It's like a really bad Force of Negation, but occasionally you can steal like a glimpse and like use the cards. We can also play Brotherhood in, which answers rubies or rows, but really inefficiently. I got the second witness for it. Well, the witnesses need to be 6s. For whatever that's worth. Okay, I'm going to update the Mox field too. Reveal Keruga. So we can get Sacred Foundry, then Lrien Revealed for Zagoth Triome. To have Domain for Scion, Domain for Leyline Binding with Force of Negation in hand. And then turn 2, Leyline Binding can be very good against the Ruby. Huey is doing an announcement today. Do we have an idea what the announcement is about? This deck can't really play any good sideboard cards against Storm. You can't play lock pieces, but the fact that you get the main deck Force of Negation is, at the very least, a pretty big deal. Can maybe Surveil instead. I think I'm going to go ahead and commit to having Binding up next turn. In the Steve's chat, someone said they're bringing up GPs, so basically confirmed. If someone in the Steve's chat, just if they said it, then it must be true. One chatter in the Steve's chat said they're bringing back GPs. Let's go, baby. Okay, interesting to play their land before Rin's resolving here. Oh, sorry, I guess it was just off the Rin's resolve, right? Okay, there's a Helga. Oh, sorry, there's a Ruby. I read Helga in the chat. So I guess now we will be just surveilling. Is Helga the new beans? Helga's not the new beans, but Helga is pretty good. Second Binding is, I think, better enough than the average draw to keep. Although the thing is, I want to play Helga next turn. But I can even, like, pitch this to Solitude and trigger the Helga next turn, too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, bringing back GPs would be awesome. It'd be very popular. It seems unlikely at the moment. I mean, they have GP-like events at Magic Cons, but I do think it's a problem that, like, the pro players can't play at the GP style events because they coincide at the same time as the Pro Tour. So will I force a ritual here? Okay, no ritual in hand. Makes it a lot easier. Veil of Summer and Rin's Resolve have entered the chat. So there's the binding. Let's play Helga. Oh, sorry. Need the Sacred Foundry to be the white source. Do we think we have GPs would have more attendance than, say, the MXP 20K events? I have no idea how popular those have been, but even having no idea how popular those events, I would say emphatically yes. But yeah, I don't think that they're not going to bring back GPs in the way that we knew them. At least it seems pretty unlikely. Okay, and it seems pretty unlikely that I should just Force of Negation this Ruby Medallion with this Veil of Summer in the Revealed Zone. So now let me... Yeah, I think I pitched the Binding so I can have the Leyline as a pitchable for Endurance, or Force of Negation if they respond to the Solitude here. 330 entrants for 20k Modern Tournament. Yeah, GPs were like... Some of this, like 300 was a super low end one. Like it was very, very often many more than... Like Vegas GPs were like over 1,000 for like with multiple main events. Were GPs substantially more popular than Magic Cons? I don't know. So GPs were like Magic Cons, but they were like really only focused on being competitive, regular constructed tournaments, versus Magic Cons, which are mostly like commander parties. Huh. I guess with that draw, we just put Giganta in our hand since we have double force, or sorry, Keruga in our hand because we have double force up. Largest DPOs around 5k players. Remember Magic Fest Vegas or COVID lockdowns releasing where Mechi was at 1,400 players. Yeah, I don't know. It's like was that the Channel Fireball one? That one wasn't exactly a GP either. Kind of hard to say how popular they would be, but certainly much more than 330. It is very funny that Nassif Chatter has stunlocked us. I know we all dream of GPs returning. It was a really, really good era of Magic. We quite frankly didn't know how good we had it. Steve with the 15 months, thank you, welcome back. The Commander slander my streamer. I'm not trying to slander Commander. I love Commander and I love Commander players, but yes, Magic Fest are very much all about promoting Commander. There's nothing wrong with that. Commander is the most popular format in Magic for a reason. So they won the flip, which is bad news for us. They choose not to flip, which is great news for us. They have a Veil of Summer. There's another Past in Flames in their hand. They won this flip again. And now they transform. Unlucky. And then now they can pass Fleck. Okay, well, combo enough. Comboing off through 2 Force of Negations is good. We also like stopped them twice the turn before. So got your Sea Monster EDH deck somewhere. Does SGG still do their events? They sometimes, I don't know. So I think SCG is going to be expanding a little bit. I would think they would with the RCQ with the RC contract, but their tournament series for Magic had been dwindling, and they'd been focusing some on Flesh and Blood because they got the contract with them. No Force of Negation. We can play a Scion of Draco turn 2. We've got 2 pitch cards. I'm going to keep. Pretty borderline hand, of course. I like pitching Guildpact to Solitude there instead of Binding. I mean, wasn't that just definitely wrong? Because we needed the Guildpact to pitch to the Endurance that we did pitch to Endurance that turn and stop Past in Flames that turn, right? It was not only definitely right the way we did it, I think, but we also like got paid off for it that same, like that game. Unless I'm just like somehow really misremembering, which I might be today. Huevos with the 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. The new Magic Spotlight series. Yeah, I mean, learn more about these events coming to cities around the world. Ah, that's why I finally have read this tweet. That'd be cool. More tournaments is good. We'll see what the structure looks like. Thanks again, Huevos. So we're looking for a land, looking for Force of Negation, graveyarding a Scion. Do you ever read State of Designs from WotC? Not usually, no. Two rubies and a glimpse. If they don't have a land in their hand, this is pretty good for us. Even if they do, it's like not the best hits from them. I mean, the glimpse is good, but they can't cast it this turn or use it very effectively this turn. So they're just gonna dump all these for spawn tokens, which is kind of good for me for my hand because I'm pretty geared against a Past in Flames, which is like the most likely thing they can have. I think I just put Keruga into my hand. You know, I wanted to get a Surveil land so I could dig for the Force, or I could dig for the land for the ring. So I don't have the green to hardcast Endurance, but Keruga pitches to any of my pitch cards here. Also, if they tap the Islet one more time, Scion of Draco kills them. If they lose one, or kills them in 2 turns. If they lose 1 flip to Ral, they're dead to 2 attacks. So that's the 4th Ruby Medallion. Resolves. There's a Pyretic Ritual. Desperate Ritual. Wish. Now, what do we think our opponent would wish for here? Can we beat a Empty the Warrens is the big question. Empty the Warrens would put 10 goblins into play. They would kind of just lose to me finding a land for Leyline of the Guildpact, but I would maybe lose if they didn't. Blood Moon, Veil of Summer. Well, Veil of Summer only matters if their last card is another must counter, which we wouldn't really care about very much. Yeah, Galvanic Relay would be a problem. I think because I've waited so long on this, I need to force here. But they just have Veil of Summer. I guess now we're hoping that they Past in Flames or Underworld Breach. Is there a way for me to tell if they like did they wish for this wish or did they just draw? I guess that was their last card. And then they play a mountain. I'm confused. Do they have 2 wishes active or just 1? So land for Leyline of the Guildpact would be really good. We're so close to just ignoring this, though, and just attacking twice. Yeah, I think we're just going to need to draw the land. So close. Yet so far. So I guess the line is going to be for me to attack with my Scion, evoke a Subtlety or an Endurance, so, and then I guess I have to evoke Endurance, which is fine, I guess, because I still get to exile their yard, and then Solitude my own Endurance. And it seems like I could do this, or I should do this main phase to play around them just drawing a Grape Shot. They only have 16 damage. Oh, I thought they had 18. I really thought the Storm was 9. Well, that makes things a lot easier. So I guess I will. I guess I'll just pass. Nature's Claim, Desperate Ritual. So Nature's Claim is surprisingly really annoying here because they can Nature's Claim their own Ruby Medallion, or they can Nature's Claim my Scion of Draco. And there's not really anything we can do about it. Tough. Update deck list. It should be updated. So I think put back the Temple Guard in, and then just probably Boros, Sacred Foundry into Zagoth Triome again. And the Flare Deck, it was like okay. Still kind of repetitive. I like the Halflings over the Pioneers, which was the update I wanted to get across. What was stopping pitch Subtlety, put Nature's Claim on top? Good question. If you're serious, Subtlety only hits planeswalkers and creatures. It's our third Storm opponent in a row. What is this Keruga curse? It's like we play this deck, we play against Tron 3 times in a row. This is our second Storm for Keruga in a row. Tron 3 times in a row, now Storm twice in a row. The Keruga curse. People either do a white splash for like Static Prison and Flage out of the board sometimes. We won game 1 last time. Okay, good thing Storm just still sucks sometimes. Was it hard to design this mana base? I mean, I've designed a lot of, Omnath mana bases at this point, and it wasn't, the most complicated. One thing is I really want to play 4 Lrien Reveals in this deck, so that does add some tension, I suppose. Just cast a Scion of Draco next turn, potentially. Does cost 4 mana because I didn't get a Triumph. I got my Surveil lands instead. A black Surveil land could be okay. So that's what I'll be pitching, I suppose. I do really like that Helga just like pitches to everything in addition to being good with your pitch cards. So, usually good in multiples. Ritual. Into Glimpse resolves. To Rin's Resolve Arid Mesa. Yeah, Helga also has like all the good keywords of Scion too. Makes me sad that Al's got 2 big upgrades against 3 and still 0% of the meta. I mean, I agree. I think there's a chance post Nadu ban it could be good, but someone made a good point that there's a lot of pyroclasms running around right now. I don't know, maybe Els maybe is just always doomed. Maybe one day it will forever be my pet deck at the very least. So I'm kind of torn here between Keruga into hand versus ice them twice. I think we'll just Keruga into hand. Unban Glimpse free elves. Yeah, I've heard some support for that in the past too. I will say that Glimpse is like Glimpse is a card that really slows games down a lot. I'm not exactly in love with the idea of unbanning it. I'm sorry, but tribal decks are dead. Will never return. That era of Magic is gone forever. I don't know about that. I think Merfolk is still pretty playable, but Merfolk might be the only kind of playable one. We also have Eldrazi. Eldrazi is one of the best decks in Modern. Does it count? I think I count it. Yeah, I don't know if Wizards counts. There's just Flame of Anor is a very good card. Oh yeah, Kindred is now the thing. What Eldrazi variant do I like the most? I kind of like the Breaker Tron build I was playing with no Emrakul's. I thought that build was pretty good. I know people keep wanting me to circle back to Mono Green, but Mono Green was like kind of easy to build like the weekend we top 8'd with it, and I feel like the metagame has kind of gotten to a point where I'm not as in love with Mono Green again. But maybe if like Storm, if Nadu was banned and Storm is good, then Mono Green might pick up again. Okay, so they do have another Ruby Medallion. I think that they're just gonna die. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Take it back. Take it back. Wait, how is their hand Ruby 3 Pyretic Rituals? Past in Flames. Literally, how is that their hand? Where did those cards come from? I think I'm gonna bring in a Brotherhood in this time. Let's cut these subtleties. Cut the fire ices. Bring in the Commandeer. I think that was spooky. It was a little weird. I thought the innovations of the PT were pretty substantial, like cutting Star to combat Voidwalker. I mean, like 2 modern PTs ago, or Merfolk won this. Oh, Merfolk. I love how the Merfolk players know about every Merfolk player's RCQ wins. It's very cute. Okay, let's keep this. Awesome hand. If Ring is gone, will Jeskai still be good? Just play Snap instead. So yeah, I think that if Ring gets banned, then Jeskai Wizards becomes the way to build Jeskai. Talking about last year's PT? I mean... yeah, small circle. Does Energy just become the next hated deck until people clamor for Wrath the Sky's ban or something? Also excited to see what the Spotlight series. Yeah, that'll be interesting too. I don't know. I think that if like Energy becomes this like deck everyone complains about, I like if Energy is the deck to beat, I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to be a very happy camper. I think Energy is a deck that is very easy to beat. I'm pretty surprised that they static person this because it does slow me down, but like I'm just gonna get this back in a couple turns. It's not like they can support the Energy really. Like it kind of reminds me of like when Murktide was the most popular deck in the format. Murktide was the deck to beat or whatever. But boy was that deck beatable, I tell you what. It's just like when Merfolk was the best deck, Modern was so exploitable. It was so exploitable. Like if you wanted to be good against Murktide, it was such an easy deck to target, and the metagame like that revolved around Murktide was easy to target too. When I've been beating up beating up on Energy with like the Woodlands deck, or even like have a positive record against it with the Hollow One build. What deck were we playing yesterday? Or we were playing the Phoenix deck yesterday. We're beating up on Energy. Like the metagame is going to be so exploitable. So like I do think there's a chance that people are like, wait, they give me back the Leyline already? I think there's a chance that people will be kind of like annoying about Energy if it's the best deck. There's a really big like movement for people to like complain about it so far. Wait, why did they give me this back? I'm so lost. I'm just gonna let this resolve, I think. I mean, I might have a hard time casting Helga, but I could just pitch it. I can just cast my Scion. I can draw Leyline Binding. Well, I think I'm just gonna cast the Scion. It's so many people go, Spike, I think when Nadu is banned, that energy will be undefeatable. Energy must need a ban. It will dominate modern. And I'm kind of hoping people have this attitude for a while because it just feels so exploitable. Exploitable being poker term that's like really easy to target. But it's also like Boros is bad against Gorios, and Boros is bad against. Sorry. Ooh, I might get to Brotherhood in both Ruby medallions. Boros is bad against Gorios is bad against Woodland combo. I think it's can really struggle against Jeskai too. I think the Jeskai matchup is a conversation, but I would give the edge to Jeskai in the Boros matchup. I think that Yogg might be very good against Boros too, should Yogg return to prominence. I think Ruby Storm is favored against Boros a lot of the time too. Mardu is also maybe better than Boros, or probably better than Boros. Yeah, that's a good point too, Simon. Energy is the kind of deck that cannibalizes itself as people gear up to beat the mirror, and their other matchups are worse. I think we're kind of seeing this dynamic with people playing the Ring in the Boros deck, and like the Ring is like kind of this. It's kind of an awkward card in the deck, but it makes you much better in the mirror if you happen to be playing it. Can I explain the interaction between Leyline and Blood Moon? Okay, so Blood Moon turns all non-basics into mountains if it comes back second. If somehow you Leyline after Blood Moon comes down, all of your things are all 5 colors. So whichever one happens second matters. Almost always Blood Moon comes out second. But your one basic is still all 5 types. So we just still have Domain. Okay, my opponent has spliced a ritual here. Cast the ritual. 2 cards in hand. Been played any of the Nightmare, Soul Trader, Green Black decks. Yeah, I mean, I've played basically like every build of Soul Trader, Nightmare. Like, just I don't know if that we really have combinations of those decks that I haven't tried to explore. Right, if they have a second Past in Flames, it's kind of bad for me. The last card is just a land. Nice. I've started using Green Boros Synergy. It ain't bad. I mean, it definitely isn't bad. I agree. Is it good, or is it? It is. I'm sure it's also good, but like I'm just not sure that it's optimal. Is what is my take. I don't know that I agree that it is correct for you to put the Ring in your deck over like any of the 3-drop options. If you think it's correct, then you might be right. But my impression is I would probably just rather play a 3-drop instead, especially because like you don't want to play Unstable, Amulet, and Boros because you really need to race the combo decks and the big mana decks. You need to be as fast as possible against them. And like the Ring makes you much better in the energy mirrors. It makes you worse against big mana, makes you worse against combo for the most part. And for me, that's just enough of a reason to be anti-Ring and energy. But I agree that it's not bad. Like it is the Ring is a good modern card. You have some nutty games with it. It does bail you out of situations that you otherwise couldn't get out of. But is it optimal? I think it probably isn't. Right, Keruga playing as the maximum possible games against Storm. Kind of hard to mulligan a Force of Negation on the draw. We don't have a blue card in our hand. We have a lot of blue cards in the deck, and we can even surveil, so I think we probably have to keep. What's the combo with Karn and Clock of Omens? So you can play Clock of Omens and Essence Reliquary in the sideboard of Woodlands, and this turns Karn into a 1-card combo that doesn't need another spell to win the game. The way we have it built at the moment, you have to have any other spell in your hand so that your Reservoir can gain the life after you pick up the Karn and replay it. If you go Essence Reliquary and Clock of Omens, so you go Karn for Statue, Infinite Storm, then you pick up the Karn and you get Essence Reliquary, and then you use Essence Reliquary to pick up Karn, and then you get Clock of Omens, and then you can tap Clock of Omens and tap Ancestral Statue to untap the Essence Reliquary, which can pick up the statue, and then you can go statue for Reservoir. So you go pick up statue, replay statue, get Karn, statue for Reservoir, and then you can tap the Reservoir and the statue to pick up the statue again, and then you can statue for any any other spell for the Infinite Life. Does that make sense? It's pretty convoluted, I know. This is a weird card to keep on top, but it is pitches to either Force or Endurance, so I think we should keep. I'm gonna need a flowchart. Yeah, I know that it's pretty convoluted. also pitch it to Solitude. I also, for whatever it's worth, okay, my opponent also missing land is huge. For whatever it's worth, I just don't think you should play this combo in your deck if that helps for the flowchart. I don't think it's optimal. Sorry, I was gonna put Keruga in my hand. I think I should actually not. So I don't think that those two sideboard slots, which are mostly dead otherwise, I don't think those two sideboard slots are worth allowing Karn to be a 1-card kill if all you have is Omniscience and Karn. It will come up sometimes. It will definitely happen. Those will be your only two options, and you'll wish that you had it. But I think that your win percentage overall goes down. I think that your win percentage is higher if you just play like Haywire Mites or like other important sideboard cards in those slots. That's my impression at the moment. Impression could change as always, of course. All right, opponents. I mean, sometimes Storm is hard, sometimes Storm is easy. Yeah, if you're playing a ringless build, then it gets a lot more reasonable, I suppose. So I guess I should just Helga this turn. Nice little source of life gain. Good ditch second ring. So I can go Leyline plus Scion next turn, or I could just cast Scion and draw off the Helga, gain a life off the Helga, see what happens. Both seem pretty reasonable to me. I think I'm just gonna cast the Leyline here, so this way if my opponent like has a big Empty the Warrens, although I guess that wasn't really a problem anyways, but if they did somehow, we can just kind of ignore it. Is there a possible brew with Collective Conjuring post Image 3, or is that kind of dead in the water? I mean, Collective Conjuring is not a bad card, but there aren't really like good sorceries to go with it. So like in Image 4, if they print like 3 really good 3-mana sorceries, then sure, we might have a Collective Conjuring deck on our hands. Hey Jarvis, good to hear from you. All right, it's turn 7. My opponent has finally drawn their second land. Okay, good to see you, Jarvis. Playing Helga in 4-color Keruga here. We're in the Storm bracket. Will Karn Liberated ever be modern playable again? Well, Karn Liberated did get a really big buff in MH3 in the form of Ugin's Labyrinth. The fact that Karn is a 7-mana colorless card that imprints to Labyrinth and can go in like a non-Eldrazi Labyrinth shell, I think is pretty exciting. Let's force this second ritual here. They're just kind of dead in the water. Get a nice 2 for 2. Thank you, House, for the 21 months. Hope you're doing well. Glad you like it in the stream. So, you know, I think you could have some like obscure Tron variants, like maybe Dice Factory would want to be more in on Karn and like instead of the Eldrazi stuff because they're using Everflowing Chalice and they're using Astra Cornucopia as their mana engines instead of using the normal Eldrazi Temple plus Scion of Draco. But the thing is, it's going to be kind of rare, I think, for you to want to be in on Karn over being in on the Eldrazi stuff. But you know, if there somehow is like specific Eldrazi hate, then yes, Karn might get there, and then also, sorry, let me. It's hard to walk and talk sometimes. Karn might get there in those situations, and I haven't hit my land drop yet. I think I'm just gonna play another Scion here. Then also like you can play Karn and Ugin as like your top end in those decks, and it's nice that they. I want to keep a Solitude for a Rao, because they go, you know, land, Rao, Ritual, and a Solitude. House again, thinking for 21. All right, looks like we're going to be 1-1 against Storm this league. Unlikely my opponent has something here that gets them out of the situation. Thoughts on Through the Breach Eldrazi? I think that archetype is very good. I think that archetype is great. I really had a lot of fun with the Mardu Goryo's build. That was kind of like, that was playing Serum Powder, Gemstone Caverns, and playing Goryo's and Through the Breach. That deck was really fun. Beautiful hand. Hopefully we're on the play with Leyline Scion against Boros here. This is another Gigantha deck though, so we could be playing against Storm for the 4th time in a row. The Keruga curse of playing against bad matchups a million times in a row. Yeah, I'm probably not going to like live react to this, but I might like tune in. I also really do not like this knock feature. Do you have any other streamers in the chat who are like knock to ask Magic to collaborate? Like, who is knocking, you know? Who is this for? I don't understand, because like this isn't how collabs work, you know? You're not like, "Hey Amy, can I please collab? I'm going to interrupt your stream by knocking." Yeah, it's like Facebook pokes. I don't get it. Who up knocking? I guess we'll keep this on top. I mean, I also didn't like channel points when they first rolled out. Now I love channel points. But I just genuinely am trying to understand who is this for? So goodbye to the ring. Okay, we drew the Zagoth Triome for turn. I think I'm island cycling and then surveilling, because I'm gonna want the extra mana for the Keruga probably this game. Figured out the knock feature. This is gonna be Walter White. But yeah, but it is like that though. Like I don't really get it. Jeff was so happy to be implemented knock feature. We're gonna be such a hater. I mean, I know whenever I say anything, it sounds like I'm being a hater. I am genuinely asking, what is the point? I am genuinely trying to understand, who is this for? How does it work? Well, I know I am kind of incapable of saying anything without sounding like a big hater. Okay, so now we're probably going to hardcast Solitude on the Bowmaster, maybe try to block the Ocelot Pride. Although it seems unlikely that they would let that block happen. I don't see the point either. I guess wait to see. Yeah. Sure. Again, I didn't understand channel points when they came out. Now I love channel points. So maybe it'll be that kind of situation. So they have Bombardment plus Ocelot Pride online. Too bad we can't. I mean, I guess we could play Keruga, but it's or so Helga before Keruga. It's a little slow here. Let's just draw 2. Okay, I'm out of Surveil lands, but being able to go Helga into Scion next turn sounds pretty dang good against what my opponent's got going on right now. Singing the name of the next card drawn. Pop in real quick.
And so all of that sounds awesome, but it sounds like and if you have been working on, we'll call it, and play offerings, hence the Spotlight series. So why don't you tell us what the Magic Spotlight series is?
I'm Steve here. Put a lot of time and effort into this, and I am fortunate to be able to be the spokesperson for it. But everybody worked really hard. I want to give props to the whole team and give them a round of applause if it made sense. If we were deciding to do it, but they deserve it. So anyway, it's true what you've said. There is a gap.
Oh, sorry.
Now we've heard community feedback.
Sorry, I forgot desktop audio was muted. I guess the 4 dogs clip didn't make any sense either. So yeah, Huey is announcing a new tournament series. It's called Magic Spotlight.
Sort of doing play big Magic.
Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope. I can't handle it.
Invites, and in that vein, we're
Pro Tour invites.
The Magic Spotlight series begins in 2020. Open Magic tournaments, each with $50,000 prize pool, 8 invites to an upcoming Pro Tour, and each event will have a theme. Each event will also have
A theme?
version of a promo
Get to
card
dress up?
specific to that theme. So, Outlight Foundations. It'll be standard construct, and that'll feature a Terror of the Peaks promo card with art from Richard Kane Ferguson.
Yep, there's that. We don't have the card image yet, but
That is beautiful. I do need a Terror of the Peaks for my Magda EDH deck.
And
Not even joking about
so
that.
the plan for 2025 is there'll be 5 of these in the United States, 2 in Europe, and 1 in the 5 in the United States will be hosted by Fanfinity, formerly known as Tournament Center, and one of the partners in those regions that are running our competitive play system.
Baby, we're going to Japan!
They will deliver, as they always do, extremely high quality events.
now I want to go back a little bit. So you talked about the big open event, $50,000 prize pool, and that's definitely the main event for the Spotlight series. But is there anything around that?
Yeah, that will be up to the organizer, but I mean, I've been to tons going on. There's all kinds of competitive tournaments. There's
something, but we're also doing something that
Play Forces actually over Endurance. I got a lot of good answers too. Flage. Griffin with the 2 months. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a winner's prize. The one for the first event.
Okay, well, this is very exciting. That sounds like a GP to me. And it makes sense too to have these events too. Like you have these events at like Magic Cons, but then the pro players can't play in them. It's a big problem. Top 8 PT invites is really cool. That is what GPs used to be. Big open tournaments, top 8 top 8 Pro Tour invites. That was at the core of it. That's at the core of what it was, and now it does sound like those are coming back. It's probably going to be a lot more expensive than it used to be. But okay, on the draw against Mardu Energy. If this was a Sacred Foundry, we could probably keep to turn 2 Scion, but let's go ahead and mulligan. Let's keep this one. Redeem, sing a card. Brotherhood End! $100 entry just O2 job feels bad. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you still get like a Terror of the Peaks promo or whatever. South America doesn't play Magic. I know it's so sad that they like neglect South America so much. South America loves Magic more than any other continent, probably. Maybe one day, like it is like it's also like a lot fewer events than GPs used to be. Like there must have been like 20 plus GPs a year, right? 8 is not that many, but 8 is more than 0. It's a start. Second event is Modern in the Netherlands. Okay, do we have any Netherlandiers in the chat that whose couch am I crashing on? Don't hit a bombardment. Bowmasters is fine. That might just be testing on the water to see how the turnout is. I mean, I think that's certainly what's happening, yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize they were flipping. Guess we're taking 5 extra damage here. Oh, I muted with the big special winners prize. Oh, sorry about that. President kills a Johnny. Did forget that dealt damage to planeswalkers. Oopsie doopsie. -1 Leyline Binding. The planeswalker damage on this card is not usually very relevant. But yeah, I did forget. I'm not never live in Brussels if you don't find it closer couch. We'll see. I probably will not go to the European ones. All right, let's play Aminami. Blue. Red. Top 8 PT invites, no record ties or pass downs. No record ties or pass downs is a change. All right, we threw this one away. I think we're dead. Bombardment's so good at energy. Why does creativity see no play anymore? It's kind of like hard to say, maybe. I think that creativity is very bad against Storm, Nadu, Eldrazi, and I don't know how the energy matchup is. It's probably not amazing. It's probably not great against Jeskai. I don't know. Like, does it have good matchups? Still do a pretty powerful thing. All right, keeping this. I'm gonna put both ley lines into play to play around Static Prison. What do you think about Domain Zoo after the Nadu ban? Domain Zoo, I think, is kind of funny enough. One of the better decks against Nadu, I think. Being a Leyline Binding deck that can put a lot of pressure on your opponent is actually, I think, a good formula against them. So there's a chance that like a Nadu ban would be a net negative for Domain Zoo. I actually think that Domain Zoo is pretty good at the moment, and like one big issue for Domain Zoo is that most lists just aren't playing Guide and Pride in their list. I see so many decks like Dak Faden like top 8 or did a deep run in a challenge or top 8 in a challenge with the new Bloomborough like 1/2 Offspring card instead of playing Guide of Souls or Ocelot Pride. And like there's just like people just really need to play Guide and Pride in the Domain Zoo shell, which we've done on stream before, and I thought it was really good. But I think if people start doing that, maybe the win rate will go up. So I don't really need to kill anything with fire. Or just ice them on their upkeep. But you're also like a really good Flage deck, and Leyline Scion's good. Leyline Binding is very good. Just like a very strong deck in general, I think. Okay, that's one answer for one Leyline. Any thoughts about Rough Tumble in this deck? My problem with Rough Tumble is that you're pretty dang good against energy already. Kind of being a Leyline Scion Ring Omnath deck. I think you just have like a lot of natural good game in these kind of matchups, which makes me not very inclined to dedicate a ton of sideboards for it. I think Brotherhood is like a little bit more versatile. I like that against Nadu, it can kill the Shukos, which was a big part of me wanting to play that instead. But I do think Rough Tumble is cool tech and definitely fine. So we want to draw a land. Ding ding. They say the spotlights have no ties to RCs. They're completely separate. It will feel really bad when you like get ninth at one of these events and you're not even queued for the next RC. But I think that this is cool. Have there been less people playing Nadu on Magic Online in non-tournament settings? I don't see it many in leagues. There was a pretty big uptick in Nadu in leagues for a little bit while we were like starting to enter RCQ season, but it seems that there's been a dip again, and there's not a lot of it in leagues outside of, and it's still a good amount of it in regular tournaments. Life total is kind of irrelevant for you. I would have shocked in case you drew Leyline there. Well, I think isn't Leyline also kind of irrelevant? Or like, I guess relevant against Thoughtseize. It's also relevant. Like my opponent could kill this Leyline in the Guildpact with another Wear Terror Static Prison. They laughed at someone's request for Pauper. I would never have laughed at someone's request for Pauper. Did you qualify for the Vegas Vintage Cube thing? No. We made it to the finals of a 64-person draft. Can't imagine that's so bad here. So I think with that on top, I can pretty comfortably binding the Ajani, where I want the binding in play to draw an extra card off Keruga, and I now have an answer to a Static Prison on my Leyline of the Guildpact. All right, GG's. Yeah, Chatter was correct after all. Gonna get all my news from Gab's chatters. Watery Grave go. From ATL, it's great in the winter. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I just had I think every American city has gotten a lot worse post COVID with fentanyl and drugs and stuff. But like the 2 winters, and should I keep this Force of Negation? It's kind of, I think I'll keep it. Two winter tournaments in Atlanta ago, I was with like Hitachi, and there was this college kid who was just high out of his mind who like jumped in our Uber and like ran down the street and like jumped in like this couple's car and like tried to carjack them like right in front of us, and it was just and Hitachi was like really getting in the middle of all of it, and it was a funny night. I don't know. Post COVID. I mean, it's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot worse post COVID. But there's just been I feel like I have the highest density of experiences like that in Atlanta compared to like anywhere else. But it is, not so unsimilar from you could kind of have that experience in any big American city. Right, taking 3. Crazy that Frog is just like gets to attack into Scion here. It's cool. As somebody who lives in NYC, big city fear is so overblown, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not trying to be fearful of big cities. I just that Atlanta is a crazy place. And it's not, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. This is kind of crazy too. It's just, shit is bad out there to some extent. It only gets worse than it used to be. And, yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, taking 9. So my opponent almost definitely has a counterspell here. I think I'm kind of interested in playing around double counterspell. And by doing that, I think it's good for me to go ring, they counter, and then I Solitude their Frog on their turn. Not saying I know the answer. It's possible it's not worse, but simply reported more. I don't know. So Magic players in general, I think, kind of have a somewhat good frame of reference because I did a lot of traveling pre-COVID for tournaments, just staying downtown and stuff, and a lot of traveling post-COVID. I just think it's worse. I just think it's worse. Like I think there's a lot of people who like during the economic downturn and COVID, during like the mismanagement in that era, just had a very hard time, and society kind of left them, and like fentanyl's gone crazy, and not I know it's getting kind of a little bit deeper than we usually get on this channel, but I there's a lot of people I think society forgot about, and they've had a hard time getting out. Okay. Main deck Harbinger. So we can Lrien Revealed for basic island, which gives us domain again. Awful deck tech to change the subject. Thank you. I know. I don't even know how we got on this. Just yapping. Is Butler just great? Butler kind of seems great. So if I can't resolve Keruga, also we're gonna have to chump block. I guess we have to chump block with it either way. Because the Keruga doesn't get flying. I think I'm playing Keruga over casting Lrien Revealed. I think 5-4, draw 2. I'll be at 10 and I can attack twice. Although again, it's just a good chance it just gets countered. It's a lot of unearths. It's a lot of unearths. Okay, I'm also been a little bit confused how people have just been like playing a lot less Phyrexian towers in these shells. Like, to me, I think it's kind of odd to only play one Phyrexian tower in a deck like this that is just like you're playing 4 Gravecrawlers, you have 4 Stitcher Suppliers, you have 3 drops that you want to ramp into. Like I'm like still like really wanting to play 3. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, because I do see a lot of people building the deck this way, for whatever that's worth. So, also we can go ring with Force of Negation up next turn. I'm kind of surprised to see no White of the Reliquary in this list if you're playing like 3 Shifting Woodlands. I I like White of the Reliquary a good amount. It's kind of a confusing card where it's like, oh no, they have a oh no. Should I have forced to play around this? I guess so. I really felt like resolving Leyline Scion against them was going to be GG. I guess I'm just wrong. Alright, I'm going to bring in the disputes. I'm going to cut the forces. I think I'll play one endurance. I think I like subtleties more than endurance. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. So yeah, so I don't. White of the Reliquary is a weird card in these lists where it always feels really good when you draw it, but it is kind of slow. And I've oftentimes felt like it's like, it's like an engine 2-drop in the way Birthing Ritual and Nightmare are engine 2-drops, but like, is it more impactful than those? I don't know. Maybe you could play like 2 whites, 2 nightmares, 2 rituals. But if you played whites, you wouldn't have to play this many woodlands while still getting access to woodlands, and like that would make your mana a lot better to not have all these woodlands in your mostly black deck. So that could be a good direction to go. 3 endurance in the main also seems like pretty bad, I guess. You're very bad at pitch casting it. I don't think that this is an archetype that's really that scared of Flage. At least in my experience, you can like combo them kind of consistently, and you can sorry, I think about getting basics because of Harbinger. Opponents on a multi 5. You can like Flare of Malice sometimes leads out to like really swingy turns against them, especially if you sack what they target with the Flage. I'm not sure. This is also a lot of unearths. Probably too many unearths. This archetype is just also so hard to talk about. It is like there's so many directions to go, and I don't really know what the best variant is. I do like these Teagues in the sideboard. Gaddock Teague is a pretty underplayed card in Modern. It is awesome against the Tron deck specifically. They have a very hard time against it at the moment. So I do like that you're able to include that card. So I'm probably gonna go Elegant Parlor this turn. Then we can set up for Domain with Zagoth Triome if we want to. Although I think I'm gonna get Breeding Pool instead. And ice them. I was playing Omni Woodlands and got smoked by Teague. Yeah, that card is, I guess, unbeatable unless you Gristlebrand them. If I had to take one deck to a post-Nadu event out of Amulet Titan, Rhinos, and Omnath, what would I take? I'd probably take Amulet Titan. The biggest thing about that list, though, is I want to play 3 Phyrexian Towers still. To me, oh no, I fetched. So I got this plane so that I would be able to be playing around Harbinger, but I needed to play Boseiju or fetch differently to cast the Helga. Oopsie doopsie. We still Helga first. Just like the weakest play into the 2 open mana. They're like the black-white Soul Trader Convoke deck I played last week. I liked it, yeah. I've seen some Mardu builds pop up that I think are better for whatever that's worth. I did missubmit one of the endurances Chatterfang. Okay, I know a lot of people are playing Chatterfangs. I think Chatterfang has looked quite bad. Like it's not like a card that I get exactly, I suppose. To me, I see it in deck lists, and I think it looks quite bad. Like it seems like just like quintessential fun of a card that people really want to be good, a card that people like, but not a card that is actually good. That was Spell Pierce. It lets you combo without the graveyard. Is that relevant? Like there is like Leyline of the Void, Doth the Voidwalker, and Rest in Peace are almost non-existent in Modern, in my experience recently. Like I can't really tell you the last time I ran into one of those cards. And like, you know, like most Graveyard Hate is like single use at the moment. Necro plays some Dothi normally. Sometimes. Gravecrawler eats Surgical pretty often. I guess so, but like the thing is like your deck just should have enough of a plan B to like play through the Surgical most of the time. Sanctifier is more common than those other three. Yeah, I mean Sanctifier isn't even very common either. It's okay. I mean, Shadowfang just isn't a very good card. It's 3 mana. It is nice that it can win through Graveyard Hate, but it's just the card quality is pretty low. It's very high on your curve. I do not recommend it. Put a Delta into the yard. I think I'm going to go Endurance them in their upkeep here. You cut Endurance as Shadowfang and just jam 3 white. That seems like a start, and then you get to like go down on the Woodlands and play more copies of. Do I want to play a Leyline this turn? It makes Keruga better. I don't really care if they counter it. Seems fine. Yeah, that's probably a good direction to go. I mean, and again, this archetype is just really tough because there's so many ways you can build it. I like the butlers too. Like I like butler is a card. Like, have you tried just playing 4 butlers? Is that card just like it's like it just seems like it goes so well with Phyrexian Tower and Nightmare. Like I know that you can't recur it with Nightmare, but just fills up your yard for it. Okay, feed the cycle. Also, just getting this in play means, you know, Scions are awesome top decks instead of kind of medium ones. So yeah, if they fight over this, I think I'm just gonna slam Keruga instead of subtletying back. You don't have to exile it. Oh, you don't have to exile. I mean, you don't. I think you'll want to exile it most of the time. I don't think like looping it just for the mill 3 is very good. But that is nice. Nice little upgrade. Seems like it makes sense to play Helga first. Okay, I don't love how they tanked all that scolding. Pretty good chance they play a Murktide here. Should probably have to subtlety. 2 top, 2 bottom. Yeah, pretty forced into this. Just a little too big. And it's not like, you know, they kind of have to bottom it too. A lot of good top decks here. Not one of them. Definitely like having 4 Lrien Revealed at this point in the game, though. Save this in hand for Omnath. All right, nice of me to wait a turn, so now they can counter my Scion. So sweet of me. I bet they can sign here. With Replicate. I think we still have to jam. Some argument for trying to double spell them, but I think they can have Thoughtseizes in their deck a little bit too easily for me to not just jam what I'm playing or what I'm drawing. Not a very high chance that I need to Binding and Solitude this turn. I'm out of Surveillance. I think I'll go ahead and play this out. Just keep 1 land in hand for Omnath. The fetch land is going to be better. think we'll jam Solitude now. I'm not ever really going to play Binding in a spot where they could Spell Pierce, but... So do I just F6? Maybe I'll just hold up the bluff of having a dispute. Well, I've used 3 disputes, so not like the most credible bluff, probably. Okay. Hard counterspell. 3 cards in their hand. Should all be spells, unfortunately for me. Gonna fire the Bowmasters. I did have blue up. I have Leyline of the Guildpact in play. Why not fire and upkeep? I'd be pretty happy if they counterspell to fire. I have like a lot of like really high impact cards that I would be wanting to top deck and resolve. I still have I have Leyline for the Bowmaster too. So they're playing another Murktide here, maybe with counterspell up. I'm gonna take my drill step before I binding this. Not playing around double Spell Pierce very well. If they Bowmaster response to save the army, it's a big loss though. I don't know. It's maybe. They push the Helga, but if you know, this seems like they're planning on like consigning the Leyline ETB. Okay, Force of Negation, pitching Spell Pierce. All right, so I'm at 11 life. I can take 2 hits. They're top decking, which is good news. I can draw Omnath Ring, Lrien Revealed, Solitude, Leyline Binding, Scion of Draco. So I'm going to play this to play around top deck Spell Pierce. If they top deck Bowmasters, we can lose. Okay. 2 lands and a ring. Dead to a Bowmaster. Being at 1 life, the ring is not the most helpful. So they didn't have a counterspell last turn, so they just drew counterspell. Big drill step. So main phase? Maybe should have held that for Omnath, but if I gain life off the Solitude, I can crack the fetches for Omnath. I do have just, 3 more Lrien Reveals in our deck that I care about playing my lands out for. So, seems like this will connect. No, we've used Keruga already. Save this for a Bowmaster. Okay, that was tough. What if my opponent still has Harbinger in post board? Because it's like so bad if I have a Leyline, but like very good if I don't. Kind of a classic dynamic, I guess. A hand that can go turn 2 Binding, turn 3 Helga is going to be good enough for me, I suppose. Why was an opponent cracking fetches to thin deck of lands? The main reason would be Revolt on Fatal Push. Revolt on Fatal Push is pretty important for Helga and Omnath. Hard to say that was exactly what they were thinking, though. Thing is largely relevant. It's pretty relevant in like these games that go super duper long. in games where like their life total just doesn't matter. Surveillance or a thing. I mean, I think they're only playing one surveil land. So we think we'll see the ring go on Monday. You know what? We haven't actually talked about the banning the ring in Modern. I don't know. Maybe. Does anybody have opinions on if restricting the ring, banning the ring, talking about anything else? Ethno, Twitch Prime, thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Well, there's the Harbinger. So if I find a Lrien Revealed, I can answer this. If I find a land, I can just slam the ring. So I've drawn nothing instead, which is not exactly where I want it to be. Oh, sorry. For some reason, I was thinking I had Leyline in play. No, we're just kind of cooked. Unless we can find Plains All Natural. Yeah, we also have Keruga. Oh yeah, we also have Solitudes. Okay, we got a lot of outs actually. Got some more rings too. Yeah, I think there's like 5 or 6 cards that would be like super safe on bans, but they wouldn't be like very impactful, so I don't actually know that they would be good on bans. I don't know. Alright. Resolve. Come on. Well, if we draw Solitude next turn, we're actually in pretty good shape if it resolves. Harbinger of the Seas. Should have had a Leyline. Yeah, not keeping this one. I'm really excited to see like where Springheart Nantuko settles, or if it settles anywhere post Nadu ban. Like we played it in like Landfall aggro. We've played it in like Naya and Celestia Energy. The card is really cool. It is also a big part of the reason why Nadu's so busted. I wonder like would Nadu be a good modern deck if Nantuko wasn't legal? It's like such a big part of like deterministically killing, and while maintaining a high card quality. It still would. I mean, I think it would still be a fine deck, but like how good it would be is kind of interesting. Turn Grief, turn 2, bestow on Nantuko. I must be missing something with Nadu to draw 2 cards and possibly play a land is busted. Yeah, Nadu would still be busted. But I'm saying playing Nadu as a combo deck that is like deterministically a kill would be difficult to do. It would be difficult to do while have your deck still be like functional. Like if you remember a lot of the early drafts before like they realized Nantuko was just like the perfect card, we're playing like Ornithopter, Midmites, like 4 Dryad Arbors, 4 Colony Gardens. Like the card quality in like the Nadu combo decks was really low, which is why at the beginning of the format, I was really into the idea of playing Nadu as not a combo card. As or not a deterministic combo card, you would just play it kind of in a fair shell. And I think that's what I think Nadu would still be very good in that kind of shell and would still be really obnoxious or whatever. Isn't Scoot Swarm almost exactly the same? Scoot Swarm is much worse. Like it is a whole extra mana, and it doesn't have the not having the bestow is just like that's like the line between playable and unplayable, basically. Not basically the same. Yeah, also like a big part of the deck too is without Thassa's Oracle, like copying stuff with the Nantuko. Yeah, we already discussed. I mean, I'm excited GPs are coming back. They're not going to be exactly the same. I kind of doubt they're going to be as good as they used to be, but it's good. I think it's very good that now there are more tournaments where you can just sign up, top 8, you're on the Pro Tour. I think that the RCQ system has like a lot of flaws. Not only like, you know, that it's kind of restrictive the path to the Pro Tour, but also like to some extent like the RCQs are like, it's like, how much free time do you have? How much free time do you have? Oh, if you have a lot of free time, you can go to the RCQ. If you don't have, or you can go to the RC. If you don't have a lot of free time, sorry, better luck next season, you know? Like the fact that if you don't have that much time, but you can make this tournament, you have the ability to spike it and you're on the PT instead of like grinding RCQs every weekend. So we're probably going to get Empty the Warrens tier, which I don't really have a good plan against. I'd rather go to GP than RCQ. Yeah, of course, you know. Of course. So they shouldn't really be responding to the RAL triggers there, because if they flip RAL, they're going to get to ultimate it. So, but they're doing this here because if you respond, the RAL would come back with more and more loyalty. Okay, I guess they have a Past in Flames in their sideboard or as the hand. I wish Magic Online was a bit more clear about like when they're playing the Wish card. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Oh, I didn't even hear that it's confirmed that they're going to have coverage. That's actually even more exciting. So I mean, this is definitely a really good thing, and like I feel very strongly that Huey is just carrying so hard. It really feels like Huey is hard carrying the organized play over there at Wizards. So shout out Huey, another Huey W, never misses. I see they're doing standard for first spotlight tournament. I hope we get variety. Yeah, I believe that they have said that they're going to do a variety of formats. Standard is also pretty dang fun. I did a lot of standard prep for the last RC I played in, and the RC didn't go very well for me. But I enjoyed testing. I like watching Ash play standard. I like watching Doom play standard sometimes. Would Archon of Emeria like cards not just be a solid sideboard options for this matchup? You could play Archon of Emeria. Kind of simply put, like the Storm matchup is bad, but you have binding for their rubies, you have Force of Negation, you have endurance. It's winnable. The fact that we've played against Ruby Storm 3 times this league is like just the Helga curse of like queuing into Tron and Ruby Storm the whole time. It's not really what you're trying to target. But yeah, you could play Archon of Emeria or something adjacent to that. Archon is probably pretty good because they probably bring in like Disenchants. Although if they have a Braid hits it. Do you think it'll ever be correct for these 4-color decks to go up to 80 cards? Well, it would be correct if they unbanned Yorion. So I know that some people do still play 80 cards in these shells, and it always kind of confuses me. Why 80? Like I get the idea of, I want to play more cards in my deck because this is going to give my mana base more consistency, and then in some really grindy matchups we'll win. Like we'll have some inevitability, and I can keep my card quality kind of high. But I think the math probably never supports playing 80. I think the math basically is always going to support playing like 68 or like 72. But people just got used to playing exactly 80, and so that's the number people ask about. Would you play this deck if you're going to expected metagame where you need to beat Jeskai and Tron? Jeskai is a fine matchup, I think. Tron is pretty bad. Got 4 Charmaws. Why not 69? What's funny is like we were playing Lamplight Phoenix combo, which was a deck that like did care about playing more than 60 in some builds because you needed like a density of mana value in your deck to collect evidence when you were doing your loops. And I played the deck at like 66, 67, 68. Everything was fine. Everyone was normal. As soon as I played a build with 69 cards, everyone's like, oh, Spike, you're just playing this deck as a meme? You're playing this deck as a meme? This is so funny. I think I'm going to play the Helga here instead of holding up the binding. Revisiting Lamplight with new modal lands from MH3. I have thought about it. I have not done it. But yes, I do think that the new MDFCs make Lamplight combo more interesting. I could maybe make a note to like work on that tonight too. Can I explain how the extra cards make your mana base more consistent? Yeah, so fetch lands are in a deck that has like an infinite amount of fetchables. You would rather just draw 2 fetch lands or like 3 fetch lands and just have access to all of your colors in the order you need them, rather than draw 2 shockland basic. And so if you play like if you play more than 80 cards, you can still keep like the same number of fetchable targets. You can even play like more surveil lands, and it's just like less likely you naturally draw them. But like you just have a higher ratio of fetch lands to non-fetch lands, which makes you draw more fetch lands more often, which makes your mana base better, which makes your deck better. What is Lamplight? So while my opponent combos off here, Lamplight Phoenix is a really cool combo that we trophied with in like a zoo build. But there's a few different ways you can build it. But the general combo here is, so if you go Altar of Dementia into Lamplight Phoenix says, when it dies, you can collect Evidence 6 to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if your deck has enough mana value in it, or so collect Evidence 4, I'm used to the other Phoenix. If you can collect Evidence 4 enough times, you basically get to mill your entire deck with your altar, and then you get to mill your opponent's entire deck if you have enough mana value. I can't remember the number we need. I guess I'll figure it out when I circle back to it. We are dead here. Another Helga Curse. And so we trophied with this build pre-MH3, where our deck plays Street Wraith and Scion of Draco and Fire Ice and Leyline of the Guildpact and Leyline Binding and Bloodbraid Elf. So our overall mana value is like really high. So we have the density of evidence to collect. But you could also build this deck where you have just more than 60 cards, and you don't play as many of these, but you still have the overall mana value. PT Bench, thank you for 13 months. Appreciate you, homie. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the resub. So I don't know. I do think it's cool that you have the Monk red MDFC land for Lamplight Phoenix combo. I think